Here we got the Baldy Marathon. It's the last minute throwing together some stuff. Baldy Marathon is tomorrow, the 28th, April 2018. And I found that I have tomorrow off from work, so I'm going to see if I give it a little try and do one lap here. We got 2 Cliff bars, 250 calories, 260 calories. We got 2 RX bars, 210 calories each. We got 6 Ginger chews. We got chocolate almonds, 410 calories. Peanut butter cups, dark chocolate, 180 times 3 calories. 2 granola bars, 140 calories each. We got a Laura bar, 200 calories. We got some soft and juicy dried mango, 120 times 5 calories. Got some dried apricots, 300 calories. Banana chips, 260 by 8 calories. And I got this hazelnut spread. It's pretty heavy, so I'm not sure if I'm going to carry it. It's 210 by 5 calories. And this thing's really light, probably going to leave it in the car for the aid station. 30 calories only, but I kind of like it. It's got salt and wasabi. It's kind of hot. And there, 30 calories, potato chips, barbecue, hickory barbecue flavored potato chips from Trader Joe's. 150 by 7 calories. I got some little Ziploc bags. Trying to throw these in there. Maybe split up some of the banana chips. And mango, this is actually a pretty good package, but sometimes it's hard to open, so I'm not sure if I'm going to split that up or not. This one I'll probably split into 2, and hopefully I won't run out of Ziploc bags. Gotta try to figure out what parts to use in the first half and the second half, and get my clothes together and try and get 5 hours of sleep here. There's about an hour and a half drive maybe, and then supposed to be probably a race briefing, and then supposed to start at 9 a.m. Anyway, we got our barbecue potato chips separated into 35 grams per bag, 7 bags, so we split it up. So I've got the banana chips separated into 7 bags, 30 grams each. So here for $15 you can ride the little ski lift up to the top, so you don't have to hike for 2.5 miles. So here we're riding the ski lift for the Baldy Marathon. I had 3 hours of sleep, was up till 2:30 a.m. Tried to get up at early enough to get here and drive, catch the ski lift. It's freezing out here, I'm shivering, and the race starts at 9 a.m. Probably can't see him, but he's down there hiking up the trail. Instead of taking the ski lift. Here we got the Baldy Marathon veteran and her husband over there, another veteran.
Famous Tina, really hard rock finisher.
Baldy Marathon. There's Punch B. Hell yeah! Doing good, man. Hour and 30 minutes. Kicking some butt here. At least my time from last year. Thanks for Aaron putting on the Baldy Marathon. I found out yesterday I've got today off from work. So last minute doing this crazy race. Southern California Barkley race. Got the first punch in, and last year I didn't get punch A, so I hope I find it this year and beat my time from last year. And they got one guy here, he's trying to beat the course record from last year, 3 hours and 45 minutes. And he looks like a fast runner, but that's a tough time to beat. And you know, I probably could have went farther up on the ridge, and you know, I cut down pretty soon. I had to go along all these rocks, but I didn't want to get stuck on a ledge. They got some steep ledges around here, and didn't want to get a helicopter ride out of here. So, check in later. And here we are at the stream, the creek, Molson Creek. And I guess that means we're in hell now. So, doing good. Hour and 53 minutes in, 4.7 miles. And we're going to fill up one of the water bottles I have with some water here, and pour it on the top of my head as I'm going up impending doom, I think. And I don't know if I'm going to like going on the reverse half lap. It's going to be a real B. You can fill in the B word if you want. And wow. I'm not looking forward to the second half lap because I'm planning on carrying 100 ounces of water, and that's really heavy. There's no water refill. So we'll see how the day goes. So we made it up impending doom. 2 hours, 36 minutes, 5.2 miles. There are a lot of bushes, prickly bushes I got to go through. Got stuck quite a few times and poured the water over my head. Luckily my little collapsible water container didn't puncture. It's one of these ones here, 12 ounces about. Putting it back in the bag, keep it safe. And got my trekking poles in today, carbon fiber. Their light was getting a little fingers sore from pulling up that steep hill. It helps me to get up and not lose my balance. I probably fell half a dozen times though, going down the ridge to get to the first punch, but I'm okay. Going up here, somehow I hit my shin and it's sore now, and I think I'll be okay. Twisted my ankle going down as well, all the rocks, the ski, but I think it'll be alright. And I'm probably going to empty my shoes out, got little rocks in them before I go up the next climb. So I'm here, I've done about the 700 feet of elevation gain from the turn-up point up Neilio's Way, and I'm looking for a very noticeable tall fallen tree that's resting on another tree. That's where punch A is supposed to be, and there are fallen trees all over the place. If I go to the left or I go to the right, they didn't really tell us what part of the ridge it's on, so you could be out here for hours just looking for punch A. So I want to find punch A. I'm going to try a little bit, but I don't want to spend too much time because I have a pretty good time now. I think I should be able to beat last week's time, but if I spend, a long time looking for punch A, that's just going to defeat the whole purpose. A little protector for my action camera works pretty good. I don't know if this is carbon fiber or not. I don't think so, but it's like made to look like it is. And I'll probably get another one because I got a second action camera. And hallelujah, look at that. It's punch A. Oh my gosh. Maybe there is a God in heaven. My prayer was answered. I got punch A. Oh, I'm really stoked now. That's great. Wow, maybe Aaron's not such a bad RD after all. So I'm up here at 8,350 feet and done almost 4,800 feet of climbing so far, as well as about 4,200 feet of descent. So my quads have been hurting, my hamstrings have been hurting, my shins have been hurting, my calves have been hurting, and I hear some voices, so I think some people are right behind me. They probably got punch A too. And my nutrition and hydration is pretty good. I didn't carry much water, only carrying 40 ounces with me. I tanked up about 35 ounces on the way before I started. And so I'm behind, let's see how long I've been on the trail, 4 hours and 21 minutes, 7.6 miles in. So I should have about 100 ounces in me already, and I just today only put about 30 ounces in, so I'm 70 ounces behind, running on dehydrated a little bit. And here comes the fellow, caught up to me, pretty good. Well, I should take care. I'll check in later. So the Baldy Marathon is over. I wore the Ultra Olympus tubes, and I was
afraid they were going to tear. It's a pretty rough course. They survived. They got pretty dirty from all the trail dust. And they get pretty good grip, and they were okay along the rocks, except for sometimes it caused my ankle to twist because they're such a high platform maximal shoe. So some things to keep in mind when you're trying to select what shoe to use. So there's the bottom of the shoe, taking the shoe off, and there's a lot of wear right here. Because when I was going down the steeper hills with a lot of the scree, the loose rocks, I'd be braking with my heels, particular way that I go down. I don't have any video of it, but that's where that came from. And there were some thorns. It looks like they did pierce the side, so there is some damage on the sidewalls. And sometimes some of the rocks would hit the sides and hurt my foot. And there's some wear and tear. Some of the threads are coming out a little bit. And these are basically new shoes. They have probably 50 miles or something like that on them. But they've been sitting in a box for a year because I got a replacement shoe because the side walls tore, and I just left them in a box, but recently started using them. Pretty heavy shoe. Some of the newer Ultra versions have more durable materials, but they also add then maybe an ounce of weight or so, but weight is pretty critical to you. Then maybe you want to try some of the less durable, older versions. This is the Olympus 2 here. Once you break it in, it's pretty comfortable, but it is a heavy shoe, and so you have to keep that in mind. The places where these shoes were not really good on the Baldy Marathon was in Hades. That's a place where there are a lot of big boulders, big rocks, all different sizes and shapes, and you basically have to walk there unless you're very skilled at running across different types of rocks. And that's where this shoe would sometimes twist and make my ankle hurt for just a little bit. So that's where it wasn't good. All the other parts of the course was basically alright. You get good protection against the rocks. You didn't have to really worry too much about feeling rocks under my foot. So I could go pretty fast over the rocks as long as I was careful about where I stepped so I wouldn't twist my ankle, especially on running down hills that were rocky. It was okay for some of the scree parts. Again, with scree, if you have a thick enough sole or you have some kind of rock protection, you won't feel the rocks underneath if you just have really tough feet. It also probably depends on how you're going down the scree. Anyway, some thoughts about the Ultra Olympus 2. We have my socks post Baldy Marathon. Were pretty thrashed. Tons of dirt got all solidified on the bottom of the socks and on the toe areas, and then on the ankle areas. Need some neoprene compression sleeves for the calves that I was wearing. Gave some protection against the thorns. I still got thorns that went through. Thorn went through my shin, and there were some splinters on my wrists and hands when I slipped a few times. So at the transition between the half lap with the car aid station, I had taken some of this chocolate spread hazelnut, and actually before the race I also had a spoonful of this, and I had one coconut water. This had pulp in it, so I strained out the pulp, and 80 calories, not really too much. Pretty sweet stuff, so if you're struggling, you may throw up if you try to drink something sweet like this, but it was okay for me. I had some coconut oil. It's in this little small jar of had broke when I tried to scoop out some stuff, so maybe next time I'll bring a metal spoon.
See, in case it got cold in the night up at Baldy, I had some winter gloves, 10 outdoors. These are not very warm, but they do help. So I need to get some warm gloves. I'm doing a lot of cold weather training, which I didn't do any this year. And I had my Merrill Primaloft jacket. Folds up into this little pocket, inside pocket. So I was able to stuff it into my Camelback Mule for the night transition. And I also had my cycling jacket here. It's a Canary little windbreaker. I actually didn't even need this. I tied it around my waist for the second half and didn't use it. So I actually didn't need the cold weather stuff or even the windbreaker for this time, the lap that I did. In the night time, if you stayed there in the dark, it's going to be really cold up there, so you definitely going to need some layers. Let's see, I also had this little Nathan waist belt. I put snacks in here. Don't know if I had any of these during the race or not. Maybe I had one or two after I finished the lap. I think I did have one or two clip bars. So a lot of my snacks I didn't eat. I don't think I had any of these during the race. Justin's. Let's see, I did put my cell phone in here. And during Eric's plunge, it fell out on the rocks. Luckily, it didn't smash. Rocks went over the touch screen, so I got some big scratches on it, but the phone was still working. I had a little problem with the phone. I was playing music with it with the headphones, earbuds attached, and even though I would lock the screen, the music would still keep pausing, and that was really annoying. I'd have to then stop, remove my pack, get the cell phone out, and press play again and try and lock the screen and put it back. So I don't know if I need another app or play the music or what, but I want the music to not pause when I lock the screen, just to keep playing until I unlock the screen. So it's real annoying if the button somehow gets pressed while it's in the bag and then the screen gets touched with some fabric. It then pauses the music, and that's just really was getting on my nerves. Probably a dozen or more times, and then during the last part of the race it paused again, and I just didn't want to stop, so I just ran the last part without music. That was really annoying. I did use trekking poles on the Baldy Marathons. I used the Black Diamond Distance Carbon Z trekking poles. They're nice and light. They fold up pretty well. They don't have a clasp to hold them together, so you don't need to maybe use a rubber band or some Velcro straps, or wherever you strap them into, make sure that they stay closed. I always used them during the race, so I always had them open, and I found them invaluable for this type of race. The GPS watch that I use is this new one. I upgraded to another ultra runner that I know uses it, and so I gave it a try. It's the Epson SF810. Now it shows elevation gain during your run, which is something my other watch didn't do. You'd have to upload the data if you wanted to see elevation gain or loss, but this one actually shows it during the run. So I used the Ultimate Direction SJ Ultra 2 vest, and it has two 20-ounce hard bottles in it. And I have left in the pocket some cash in case I was going to buy the award after the race, if I finished the lap, that is. And then I have looks like 2 bags of my barbecue potato chips and 1 bag of banana chips left. And then over here I have a Laura bar cherry pie, and that's all I got left here. And I had my whistle, emergency whistle, in this pocket, and I had some ginger chews in this pocket in a plastic bag, and I think I only used one of them, so I had 3 of them there, so I have 2 left. And I ran out of fluids the first half, so I only had 40 ounces of fluids. I probably should have taken 100 ounces. Pretty much was probably about 70 ounces short, but 100 ounces would have probably been just fine. I did tank up about 30 ounces before the start of the race. I probably should have tanked up with 50 ounces, and I probably would have been a little better with just 40 ounces, but I did make it through. And then in the transition, I switched bags to the Camelback Mule bag, and get a little shot of that in the next clip here. So here's a Camelback Mule, and it holds a 100-ounce bladder. I had this little blinking LED. It's got different settings on it. It's blinking red. It may not show up in the video as red, but I clipped it on there. I didn't use it because I finished before the sunset, so that's good. Now there's a little pocket here. It's got a big pocket in there, and the thing I don't like about it is there's not enough fabric here towards where the zipper is, so when I try to fill up the bladder, it's really hard to put it back in there. Whether it was a manufacturing defect, whoever sewed it didn't sew it correctly, and so there isn't enough material there. But it needs to be about a 1/4 inch wider all along the zipper, so I can zip it up without having to worry about the zipper breaking the bladder and ruining it. If that happens mid-race, I'll be out with no hydration pack, no water, and that would really ruin the race. Or a training day, whatever, if you're doing long training and filling up your 100-ounce bladder at water stops. But it's a pretty good bag. I've used it. It's kind of heavy, so I used it in 150K, and I did okay in it. But did have issues with the clogging, so I removed one of the valve parts and made it a free flow valve. And I don't have a video clip to show how I did that, but any mechanical incline person should be able to figure it out. And this is Camelback, and it's not really made for ultra running, ultra racing, but it's what I use it for on the heavier days and I need more water, 100 ounces. At the start of the race, I had short sleeves on and these cycling arm warmers. I kind of like them to keep your arms warm, and you don't really have to layer up too much. And they're 85% polyester, 15% spandex. You got some kind of thing here. Supposed to help it from sliding down your arm so it stays up. It's pretty hard to put these on actually, so if you're in the mid-race and you want to transition, you gotta maybe add a few minutes to put these on. And if you have things on your wrist, then it's kind of hard to get it over. Like you have a watch, you have to pull it over your watch. And if you have a heart rate monitor watch that uses your wrist, and you put the watch over this, it's not going to be able to get your heart rate, so you have to slide this out of the way so your wrist isn't blocked by the arm warmer. Let's see, for the night, even though I didn't need it, I had prepared or planned. I brought a headlamp, so I carried it with me on the second half of the lap. It's by Streamlight, and it requires 2 AAA batteries, so it doesn't need too many batteries, only 2. And I don't recommend this light. It's very hard to take this cap off and put it back on to change the batteries, so it's not really a race-minded light, but if you're walking a dog, it's probably great. And it has 2 settings, low and high, unlike some other lights where the first button press, it goes on to high and then it goes on to low, and then maybe has the red blinking LEDs, or steady and blinking LEDs. This just has 2 modes, low and high. So it doesn't give very much light, it just gives a little bit of light, so that's why I don't recommend it. And it uses the AAA batteries, which don't last very long. You want to use the lithium battery headlamp, like one of the other runners was showing me. Their headlamp was much brighter than this, and it used lithium batteries. Now the other one I was carrying for the first half is an emergency light in case I was out there and it got dark and things were getting pretty bad. It's just a small little pen light like this. It's very small, maybe 3 inches long by about 1/2 inch, and actually it's pretty bright. It's got probably the same LED that this has, but it just takes 1 battery, and I had 8 AAA batteries, brand new. I bought some real old cheapo ones for like $2 for 20 of them or something like that. And so I was carrying 8 of them, and so if this ran out of batteries maybe twice, I would have switched over to this one. I did make a mistake in the transition. I was supposed to switch this from my Ultimate Direction race vest to my Camelback that I was using for the second half, so I forgot to bring the emergency light with me. But I did have the headlamp in the Camelback, so I would have probably been okay anyway. But definitely if you're trying to go through the night, you want a good headlamp. Now I could have made it through the whole night on a second lap doing Baldy Marathon with this headlamp, but definitely having a brighter one is better. You get more visibility, you can see things a lot better. Oh, I wanted to add here that this does have a little clip on there, so you can put it in your shirt pocket, and so it's kind of convenient to carry around. And the other thing that you can do is you can clip it onto something and have it pointing. But I kind of wish that this clip was in the reverse directions. Then you could kind of clip it onto your cap. But maybe I'll figure out a way that I can clip it onto my cap, because it'd be a pretty good cap light to have. Then the light goes in the direction that you're pointing your head. The other thing I thought about is using a wristband and then just putting this inside of the wristband. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to stay put, but maybe if I secure it somehow, and then when I'm using trekking poles, I can have the light shining from my wrist with the trekking poles. Because when you have trekking poles, it's kind of not impossible, but it's pretty inconvenient to carry a light in your hand. One other little thing I had on my Camelback mule is a little cheap compass, magnetic compass, so I don't have to worry about it running out of batteries, and a little temperature gauge. And I actually forgot that I had this on, because after the race I was wondering how cold it was, because I was shivering, and asked somebody and remembered that I had a temperature gauge in my Ultimate Direction vest, but I forgot I had this on, because it's kind of clipped on, and I must have forgotten about it. See, I got a quick race recap here. Basically, I had two goals for the Baldy Marathon 2018, and that was one, to find punch A, which I did, so I met that goal, and the second goal was to beat my previous time of finishing the one lap, and I did that as well. So I met both goals for the Baldy Marathon 2018, so it was a success for me. Now, he did this year change up things a little bit. The RD added a 50K option, though he does let you just do the one lap, or even gives you the time for your half lap. So, you know, for those people that did finish the half lap, congratulations. That's a hard thing to do. It's easy to get lost out there. I know there was one runner that was trying to break the half lap record of 3 hours 45 minutes. And I don't know if he missed the pre-race meeting or didn't study the course very well or whatever, but you know, I heard that he got lost later, and I remember pointing out the direction to punch B and telling him, if you want to make that course record, you're going to have to go on. But he could have went with me or the other guy who knew the course, and we would have showed him how to get to punch B, and he could have taken off from there. But it's a very hard course. It's not marked. There are no turn-by-turn directions. There are GPS points, so if you have a navigation tool, that really helps, whether it's a watch or a Garmin. I don't know if he allows you to use Garmin's for direction finding, but I know that some of the race runners did have it, because I saw it on them. In fact, I know that the RD was talking to one runner who did have a Garmin strapped onto their chest. The big Garmin looks like a satellite phone. It's for navigation. So I don't know, I kind of consider if you have a Garmin, that's kind of cheating, but you know, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's all good, I guess. But once you do know the course, whether you've done it through training runs to figure out, you know, how to get from point A to point B, or whether you've done the race before and got lost and now know the right way to go, it definitely helps to know the course. let's see, for any runners who may be upset, because they got lost. Yeah, I got lost the first race that I did. I tried to follow Aaron's directions, and I probably should have stayed for the full pre-race meeting because I left the hour early start, so I didn't quite get the pre-race meeting because the other two people were veterans. They already knew the course, so I was just going to follow them, but they didn't wait for me. They just took off, and so I got left by myself and stranded and went the wrong way and just kind of only was able to do the first half lap, but I was in good enough shape. I would have finished the full lap if I didn't get lost. So my heart goes out to you if you got lost. I definitely try and help runners, but if they don't want to go with you, so you can actually show them the right way. It's easy to just get lost. That's what happens in this kind of race. So, if you're definitely going to go out and try and get a lap record, definitely study the course, and know it yourself. You don't have to ask for directions. That's the best option. And ask the RD as many questions as you can. Go to the pre-race meetings. So if you skip the pre-race meeting and try and use the RD's cryptic directions and cryptic map with cryptic names, expect to get lost. That's pretty much the way it is. So anyway, I want to thank the runner who helped put the cell phone into my pocket when I went down Eric's plunge. My cell phone fell out, and I had my hands kind of tied up with my trekking poles, and it's a steep kind of scree rock-filled hill. Rocks are sliding down, and he put my cell phone into my pocket and zipped up the pocket in the Ultimate Direction vest. So thanks goes out to him. I don't know his name or don't have his email or phone number, and I don't know if he got lost or made it through the race. I hope he didn't get lost, but he could have tagged along with me. I did look back and I didn't see him, so I just kept going, but if I saw him I would have tried to make sure he was okay. But anyway, so a little other part of the race recap. He does give you a map and he gives you directions. He's improved the directions this year. I didn't read the directions because I already know the course. And now that I found punch A, I know how to get all the punches. They're not easy to find, even if you know where they are. Sometimes you have to still look around for them. I haven't really done it in the dark, except I did find Y in the dark one year. So, if I had to do a second lap all in the dark, I'm not sure if I could find all the punches. I'd probably have to have a really bright light. One thing the RD could have is a little reflective string to hang the punches down. So then when you shine your light on the trees, you'll see the reflective string. That would help a lot for runners in the dark. Or have some other kind of reflective object on the tree where the punches are. Now for punch B, you don't really need that because it's pretty hard not to find punch B, like boy. And let's see, other part of my race recap here. It would be a lot easier if we were able to have drop bags at the top-notch restaurant as well as in the car, because if you've done the first lap and you want to continue on the 50K, you have no supplies to refill because your car is down at the parking lot, and the top-notch restaurant is like a 2 or 3 mile hike. So that's kind of out of the question to do a 4 to 6 mile hike to go to your car and go back just to try to finish the 50K. That's just ridiculous. So if the RD could get permission to have our drop bags put there, and maybe have a volunteer to keep an eye on the drop bags so they don't get stolen, or maybe have some kind of locked container, a temporary locked container for our drop bags, something like that. Then we show up, then the RD could open it up, we get our drop bag, whatever we need, and then he locks it up again. That would kind of solve the supply or resupply issue if you're going to do the 50K, finish with another half lap plus change. Other option is if you could get a parking permit, just for the race day or the race weekend. There's got a ton of room up there, ton of land up there at the top-notch restaurant. They could easily fit, 20 cars Problem is that you have to drive up the fire roads. They need to probably be high clearance vehicles, or at least trucks, that are able to drive up the fire road. So you don't want to have a lot of car problems, tow trucks going up on the fire road. That would create a big mess. So anyway, back to the race recap here. Let's see. So overall, it was a great race. Happy with the results. It was a last-minute decision. I didn't train for it. Most of it was just doing road running this year. No hiking trips. This year, no winter training up in the snow. No high-altitude training, really. I went to Baldy maybe a few times on some short runs, short hikes. And I did a few trail runs this year, but not very many. Mostly just city trails and road running. And some gym treadmill workouts. So, very happy with the results. I think I could also improve my time this year by about half an hour to an hour. I could have saved maybe half an hour going up Impending Doom. I'm sure there's a much better, faster way to go up than the way I went up. Still having trouble getting up Impending Doom. A lot of prickly bushes. I got thorns in my shin, thorns in my upper leg. I was climbing over prickly bushes, climbing over trees. So I definitely got to find a better way to go up there. And I also could have probably saved about another half an hour, so total about an hour, if I had not been cramping up. So, if my inner thighs were stronger, if my shins were stronger, and if I was, had prepared actually for this kind of race, then I wouldn't have been cramping up from overuse. My legs just weren't used to the steep uphills and steep downhills and rocky downhills. So my legs were just taking a beating and cramping up. And I was getting dehydrated in the first half lap, so I'd have to solve that issue. And there's no no water refill for the second lap, so I had to carry a lot of water. That slows you down a lot. 100 ounces of water is pretty heavy. If you don't believe me, go fill up 100 ounces and try and go running, and you'll see you're a lot slower. And let's see. So starting from the start of the race, I did pretty well. I have a new GPS watch. It got GPS fixed very quickly. Aaron didn't give a forewarning, and he started right at 9 a.m., the RD. So luckily I was able to get going. I still hadn't put on my gloves, and my trekking poles weren't ready. So I wasn't ready to go right at the race start, so I was maybe 30 seconds, a minute behind getting started. But I was able to kind of jog to warm up in the beginning. It's mostly uphill, up a fire road. And then there's a transition to the R&L trail that the RD has a cryptic name for. So I made that transition pretty smoothly. I did also start hiking up the beginner's hill because I didn't want to burn out, because I haven't been doing a lot of climbing, a lot of hill training, so my climbing is kind of non-existent. And so the R&L trail was okay. I didn't go too fast down there. It's a nice single track, and then it transitions over to an uphill climb up to Eric's Plunge. And so I took one of the allowed shortcuts, not the long shortcut with a steep grade, but I took the second shortcut, and one runner followed me up there who was the guy who helped put the cell phone back into my pocket. There was a veteran ultra runner up there at Eric's Plunge taking pictures. I think people know him. He's done Hard Rock 100 a few times, Angeles Crest 100 a few times. So he was the photographer for the day. So that's nice. I don't know if he's charging money for the pictures, or those are free pictures, or what the case is. But anyway. And then from Eric's Plunge, going down to Hades, I did okay. Now, in Eric's Plunge, I went down a lot faster, this time with the Ultra Olympus 2 shoes. Not that the shoes made really that much difference. I just went faster so that the rocks wouldn't tumble onto my ankles, because I didn't want to get an injury like last time. So this time it's good. No rocks tumbled onto my ankles, and I did the same when going down Hades. Made sure I went fast enough, no rocks were tumbling down. I did overshoot the turn to Hades a little bit, so I kind of had to backtrack. I wasn't using GPS markers for the first half. I was just going kind of from rote memory of where to go. And I also was trying to find the punches in a better way than I did last time. So I think I made a little better turns in some parts this time. But definitely I could have improved over my time to get to punch B. I think I wasted a lot of time climbing through a lot of the rocks, so maybe next time I could do better there. But I have to do some training runs to figure that out, because I don't want to test things in race day. It'd be kind of hit or miss. It may work, it may not work, it may blow up in your face, in other words. Let's see, now down the hill was okay. I think I made that transition pretty well. Upper Basin, I think I wasted a lot of time in there with all the prickly bushes, and impending doom was pretty rough. Emilio's Way, I did find punch A, so that's good. I was happy about that. I think I know kind of the way to go there. It's pretty steep going up Emilio's Way. There's a lot of dry pine cones. It was really slippery. I was slipping, sliding all over the place getting up there. It's very tiring. That's when my shins started cramping up, so I had to make some adjustments to my hiking technique. Instead of doing the way that I like to hike, I had to change the way I was using my shins, so I had to make adjustments, and the terminology escapes me just for the moment here, but maybe I'll make another clip with a proper terminology. And then Candyland, that was kind of okay, coming back. And then there's kind of an unnamed part. I guess it's a continuation of Candyland. That part, actually I liked part of it, but then other parts is pretty steep fire road, and kind of didn't like that. I had to put on the brakes going down. Kind of a certain steepness of downhill that I like, where I can really let loose and go quickly, go at a fast pace. And other steepness, in other words, when it gets a little more steep than what I like, then I have to start putting on the brakes, and I don't like that too much. Most ultra running mountain trails do have the steeper hills, so it's not something that I can really let loose and go fast on, but there's parts of this course that I think are runnable and runnable pretty fast pace, but only maybe 1 mile or mile and a half, or possibly on the single track there might be another mile or so. So total maybe only about 2 miles out of the 20 miles are runnable. Most of it's others just hiking trails and uphills. And some people they are good climbers, so they can run uphill pretty fast, but I don't really consider uphills runnable trails myself. It's more of a hiking for me. But anyway, depends what you've trained for, what you're good at. Now, so the first half lap was finished. Second half lap, my inner thighs started cramping down the ski chute, so that was real annoying. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to continue if I started getting more cramping. I kind of resolved the shin cramping. I still had issues with it, still was fighting with it on all the uphills, but as I changed my hiking technique, I was able to kind of avoid the cramping. And when it did happen, I figured out that if I just would stretch out my foot, in other words, point my toe back and forth, kind of like you're stepping on the gas pedal on and off, that kind of helped, and I was able to keep going. And I did also try to rub out my inner thigh with my trekking pole, because I didn't have my muscle roller with me. I didn't want to carry the extra weight. But if you're a beginner or intermediate or ultra runner, definitely carry a muscle roller with you on your first 50K, maybe in your first few 50Ks. Rub out your legs if you get cramping. Let's see. The big climb, that was pretty good. Felt a lot better than the last race that I did. So I was able to keep going pretty much. I took a lot of breaks. I had some snacks along the way and got past. That's really where people started passing me a great amount. Was on the big climb, so that I had to really slow down my pace because of the shin cramping on the steeper climbs. And then going on Candyland up to heaven, that was okay. Again, people were passing me. And then Triumph's Hill going down to Joel's Gap to get to Y. That was okay. And then getting to Y was alright. I had to take some breaks there, refuel up. So I was trying to get snacks down. I got snacks down at Heaven. Took about a 10-minute break at Heaven. I didn't need my jacket, didn't even need my cycling jacket, so the arm warmers were good enough. It was windy there, but I stayed a little bit behind the rocks. There's some rock protections up there. And then once I just kept going, even though the wind was there for a while, it didn't bother me. So I didn't need my Primaloft jacket. I didn't need my windbreaker jacket. And then let's see, the climb back up Triumph Hill to Heaven, that was okay. I did that alright. I went slow, took a few short little breaks, had some cramping issues with my shins again. But once I got up to Heaven, I just kept going, and I started using up all the 100-ounce fluid that I had. I think by the time I got back to the finish line, I had maybe 5 to 10 ounces of fluid left, something like that. So I used up most of it. Now on Candyland, the way back on the single track part of Candyland, it was starting to get dark, so I removed my running glasses or cycling glasses, put it on my shirt pocket on the neck here like that, and it came off and fell on the side of the single track. And I tried to grab my glasses, and my legs started cramping up the inner thighs, so I had to go to the ground for a little while and then come back up. And then another runner with a big Hoka vest, or big Hoka backpack, running backpack, race vest, I guess you call it, was able to get my glasses. And so I don't know who that was, who the name was, email or phone number to say thanks, but thanks for getting my sunglasses, because my legs are cramping if I tried to go that way to get the glasses. So anyway, then once I kept going down Candyland, did pretty well. I picked up the pace for the last final stretch, and except even the part where I had to put on the brakes, and there's a finish line. There's no bell to finish this time. They removed the big bell. I guess they got tired of people ringing the bell when they finished the race. Maybe that was waking people up who were sleeping, I don't know. But there's no bell to finish, no to ring. And that's pretty much it. That's the race cap. Oh, I did meet a runner who said to train for this race, they did 300,000 feet of elevation gain training. Now that's a lot. Definitely they were in great shape. I think they definitely could have finished 100K. They did have issues with the altitude though, so even though you've done a lot of the elevation training, you do need to also kind of do some altitude training as well, or at least have some kind of remedies for altitude sickness, mountain sickness, because if you do get that, it can become very dangerous. 10,000 feet, is a high elevation, high altitude, so you got to be careful. A lot of serious things can happen at altitude. That's pretty much all. Baldy Marathon 2018 was a success for me, and so it's a hard race. This is a day after. I could definitely go on a 5 or 10 mile recovery jog today. I don't know if I'm going to, but I feel okay. I've got some soreness, hamstring soreness, my shins are sore, don't necessarily feel like going on a 5 to 10 mile recovery jog, but I could, so that's alright. Things are pretty good. Didn't get rocks banging into my ankles this year, so that's good.